We have the top headlines where you live. I'm Tiffany Lee. Let's get you caught up on what's going on around our area. 5 people are dead and 2 are injured. This is after a mass shooting in Raleigh, North Carolina. We're finding out that it's the latest in a string of incidents with this week, which is involving police officers that were either killed or injured. Naomi Ruckelm has the latest on the investigation and what police know about the suspect.
Gun violence hit Raleigh, North Carolina after a shooting in a normally quiet residential neighborhood left 5 people dead, among them an off-duty police officer.
The nightmare of every community has come to Raleigh.
Police say the shooter opened fire along a walking trail yesterday around 5 p.m. and then escaped officers for several hours before finally being taken into custody.
This neighborhood is probably one of the biggest neighborhoods I've ever seen, and then there is a very long trail behind it with tons of woods, so there is plenty of places to hide, which is terrifying.
Police say they captured the suspect at a residence, describing him as an underage white male.
You pray that something like this will never happen here. It did.
I'm very concerned about my safety going forward. I've never seen so many cops. I'm shaking and terrified to go home and sleep tonight.
A canine officer was also shot and taken to the hospital, but has since been released and is expected to recover.
This is a senseless, horrific, and infuriating act of violence.
Investigators are still trying to determine a motive.
And a special honor for a Paris second grader. In fact, he's being called a hero after rushing to help his friend who fell off of a scooter. 5 News reporter Ian Taylor shows us the heartwarming celebration for his quick action.
On a day where superheroes roamed the halls of Paris Elementary, it wasn't Spider-Man, The Flash, or Wonder Woman who saved the day, but a friend who jumped into action when he saw things weren't okay.
My friend Liam's on the ground. I need help getting him up.
Last week, best friends Jace Brown and Liam Woods were riding their scooters without a care in the world. But a patch of gravel sent both boys tumbling to the ground. Jace without a scratch. Liam wasn't as lucky.
Liam was really hurt, and I didn't want to leave him there hurt. I had to go get some neighbors to help him up, because I care for my buddy.
Liam suffered a cracked skull and fractured his neck in 2 places.
He still has to be very careful because he still could become paralyzed.
Thanks to the quick thinking of Jace, adults rushed to the aid of Liam. He was taken to the emergency room in Paris and then airlifted to Arkansas Children's Hospital. Liam returned to school Thursday in time for their October prep rally, where the 2 boys were honored. Liam's grandma, Rhonda, couldn't be happier.
They didn't have to do that, and they're all so gracious and kind, and the prayers that they have gone out and out of their way, to make sure that Liam's okay.
It's Spirit Week at Paris Elementary School, the reason why kids dressed up as Disney characters and all types of superheroes. But little did they know, no costume was needed for their own hero.
I have nurses and police officers and construction workers and firefighters and Jace.
Principal Lakin Schluterman and the school surprised Jace for helping a friend in need, something she believes her students will all look up to.
And I was glad that we got to do that in front of all his peers. Look what he did. He stepped up and he took action. This is something all of you can do, no matter how old you are, no matter what. You guys can do this too as kids.
Liam could be back in the classroom full-time as soon as next week. Welcome news for his best friend turned hero.
I'm just happy about my friend is okay and not in bad condition.
And I don't know about y'all, but I want to be like Jace when I grow up. So there will also be some more electric cars on the road in Bentonville. This all starts on Monday, October 17th. Ozark Regional Transit will be testing its Ford E-Transit electric car for 2 weeks. According to Ozark Regional Transit, the van is on loan from Creative Bus Sales and is fully equipped with a wheelchair lift and seating. One factor being tested is how long a typical charge can last between cars with and without wheelchair lift in operations. It's important to note that this is the first week of testing and it will be without wheelchair use, while the second week will have wheelchair use. Ozark Regional Transit said that its wheelchair-bound passengers will be accommodated with other vehicles in the area for that first week of testing. Most of Arkansas has been under a burn ban for weeks, but a new alarm is being sounded. We saw some rain in parts of Arkansas, but it wasn't nearly enough. And now the National Weather Service has issued a red flag warning for parts of the state. Jalissa Garza shows us that this is a big deal and what you need to know.
Given the low relative humidity, the pretty strong winds, and the dry vegetation, it has all the ingredients really necessary to allow for a grass fire to spread quickly.
Dennis Kavanaugh with the National Weather Service Little Rock says this dangerous combination led them to issue a red flag warning.
Don't usually happen at the same time here in Arkansas. But also the soil conditions. Almost the whole state is in some sort of drought category.
Kavanaugh says a warning like this isn't something they give often.
I don't remember anything all that recently where all three ingredients would have come together. The past few years, we've actually had a little too much water, so we've had to deal with more flooding than anything else.
The warning has fire departments keeping a close eye on their communities, especially smaller ones like the Gravel Ridge Fire Department.
We've fought several fires during this time of the year, but this is worse because of the drought.
Sean Sullivan is the captain at the fire department. He says top of the checklist on days like this is making sure this vehicle is ready to go.
We've got a brush truck that carries 400 gallons of water. It's made strictly for just wildfires and grass fires and stuff like that.
Kavanaugh says this red flag warning probably won't continue after Thursday, but that doesn't mean the natural state is in the clear.
The very dry air and the dry vegetation, that's still going to be around. So it's not that grass fires can't spread, but they're not going to be as aided by the wind.
For now, he's hoping for rain to help.
If we don't get any, we could wind up into November and December pretty dry, and we do get more frequent fronts as we get closer to winter, and so that worries me a little bit.
And Thanksgiving is just 41 days away. 5 News is once again hosting our Give Where You Live food drive. We're doing this to make sure that families have a holiday meal this year. It's happening now. You can buy $5, $10, or $15 donation bags that are already filled with non-perishable food items at any area Harp's grocery store. Or you can go ahead and take some canned goods to participating Armstrong Bank locations in Fort Smith. Channel 5's Give Where You Live food drive runs through the 23rd. And if you love unique homemade items, then listen up. The beloved War Eagle Craft Fair is officially underway. The craft fair will run through Saturday from 8 to 5 and then will wrap up on Sunday at 4 p.m. Parking is $5 and most vendors request cash, but there are some ATMs on site. I had the chance to look at some of the excitement. Take a look.
I had determined when I first started making my platter that if I started making something that I thought was pretty decent, I would apply to War Eagle.
And now, for the second year, Greg Raleigh is sharing his clay creations at the War Eagle Craft Fair.
Yeah, literally I work all year just for this one show.
He says it's the only way that he'll have enough inventory. His wife Beverly sells homemade Christmas decorations in the booth beside him.
Some of the best part of doing the show is, that people really like your stuff well enough to pay you money for it. It is a good feeling. Yeah.
You can tell from all the people around me that the War Eagle Craft Fair is pretty popular, and for many, it's become a tradition. I had the chance to speak with 2 friends who tell me that they've been coming to the craft fair for so long that they used to have to take a 1-lane road all the way through Northwest Arkansas to get here.
We had to join a club to buy a steak for supper. There were no steakhouses, very few restaurants. It has just grown so much.
Aldana Schwizzo and Marcia Bowers have been making their way to the craft fair from Nebraska for 26 years.
I wouldn't do this with anybody else. There is no way.
Me either. Yeah, it has to stay this way, just the 2 of us.
Celebrating over 60 years of friendship the best way they know how, shopping.
I've bought a couple of Christmas presents, but mostly I bought for myself.
I was gonna say, my whole bag is myself.
The 2 say that their favorite booth sells homemade jewelry. It's always their first stop, and it might even be their last before heading back home in a few days.
We look forward to it every year, and we start planning on our way home. And we reserve our rooms a year in advance, and we love it.
The Poto Balloon Fest is also returning today. This is some video that was captured during past events. The annual tradition gives people a chance to get in a hot air balloon. Balloon Fest also features carnival rides, games, and food. The event starts at noon on Friday at the LaFleur County Fairgrounds in Poto. It will run through Saturday night. And with all these fairs and festivals going on, let's check in with our 5 News weather team. Stephen, how's the weather looking? A lot of things to do outside.
Yeah, Tiffany, there's a ton of things to do today and this weekend, and it's going to be a bit of a roller coaster ride in terms of weather as we get going into Saturday and Sunday. Most of the day on Saturday is actually going to be pretty nice. It's going to be sunny, getting into the 80s, but as we get later on throughout the evening, we're going to expect to see some showers and some storms begin to move through. We're sitting at around a 60% chance for showers on Saturday. We might bump that up as we get a little bit closer because it's looking pretty likely as we get into Saturday night. But come Sunday, those temperatures are going to be dropping back into the 70s because that cold front will push through, bringing us some much cooler air. But on Sunday, we can expect the tail end of the day, the second half of the day, is really going to be quite nice once that rain begins to move out. But taking a look, we have rain chances over the next 6 days. Pretty much just Saturday and Sunday is our good chance to see rain is widespread on Saturday and then more scattered as we get into early on Sunday. But the rest of the week looks dry as we get into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But taking a look at futurecast, let's map this out. What can we expect? Most of the day on Saturday will stay dry. We might have a few scattered showers early on Saturday morning, but as we get later on throughout the day, the clouds clear out just a little bit. Most of the day is dry, but as we get later on into the afternoon and evening hours, we could see some scattered pop-up showers begin to move through. This is early in the evening, but as we get later on in the overnight hours, more widespread band of rain begins to move into the area as that front pushes towards the south, moving through 5 country. But by the time we get into Sunday morning, we're going to see most of that rain begin to move out, and those clouds are going to move out with it. So by Sunday afternoon and into Monday, things are really going to clear out. But taking a look at the 7-day forecast, temperatures are going to be in the 80s the next 2 days, and then as we get into Sunday, much cooler, and that cooling trend just continues as we get into the beginning of the work week with highs on Monday in the 60s, and on Tuesday we might not even get out of the 50s. But the chance for some frost and potentially even to see our first freeze of the year as we get into Tuesday and in Wednesday. But the River Valley has a similar story. It's going to be warm the next couple of days. Then a cold front moves through late on Saturday, bringing us cooler temperatures on Sunday, some rain as well. But as we get into the start of the work week, much cooler. We could see some frost as we get into the middle of next week. Now back over to you, Tiffany.
All right, thanks for that, Stephen. Definitely looking like fall over the next few days. Well, now that you're caught up in today's headlines, let's take a look at some things that you might have missed this week. Around 35 acres of land burned on Tuesday by a large grass fire near Mulberry. Here's a look at where it happened. It threatened homes and a business. 5 News reporter Micah Wilson was there as crews and neighbors fought the flames.
It's a little intimidating not knowing what I was going to see when I got there because you couldn't see through the smoke.
Joey Maroney was away when the fire began, but his wedding venue business, Kindred Barn, was in the direct path. Before fire crews even arrived, his wife and neighbors tried to fight off the flames.
This community have always been willing to lock arms, and they showed it again with strength today.
At around 1:30 Tuesday afternoon, the call went out for this grass fire near Old Graphic and Chastain Roads in Mulberry.
Initial gut reaction was a little nervous.
According to Mulberry Fire Assistant Chief Ben Brewer, flames reached 30 feet. The area filled with smoke. They quickly got to work.
We're going to attack a fire as safely as we can, prioritizing homes, structures.
Protect your structures is the main thing. We can burn trees all day. We don't want to burn people's houses.
3 structures, including a home and a business, all safe. But that doesn't mean it didn't cause worry.
The blaze moved really quickly. In about 5 minutes, it traveled about a quarter mile.
Now, this is the aftermath of those flames. About 35 acres burned. Right now, we're not sure what caused it, but crews are looking into it. But what they can tell me is this dry grass and drought-like conditions gave it the breath of life.
We're allowing these fires to burn so fast and get larger.
Multiple crews working together to fight the flames using all resources necessary.
3 dozers, a skid steer, 2 planes, and of course U.S. Forest Service with their personnel and 3 districts.
Maroney overwhelmed, but thankful.
Catching our breath, and I think everything's good. We got some weddings this weekend, so hopefully the brides can see the bright side. There's the barn still.
And a trial date is now set in a civil lawsuit coming from a violent arrest caught on camera in Crawford County. You may remember that it sparked nationwide outrage. The case is set to go to trial in September of 2023. Attorneys for Randall Worcester filed the suit, claiming that his 4th and 14th Amendment rights were violated during the arrest. In addition to the Mulberry police officer and 2 former Crawford County deputies accused of using excessive force, the lawsuit also names the city of Mulberry and the city's police department, Crawford County, and the sheriff's office. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's a time to acknowledge survivors and share their stories. According to the National Child Traumatic Stress Network, an average of 20 people are physically abused by a partner every minute. 5 News reporter Rachel Williams joins us to share the story of a survivor.
In 2008, Susan Chase started a nonprofit called the Chase Family Foundation. Every year, it hosts multiple charity events such as Help the Girls to donate undergarments to local women's shelters.
The women were so ecstatic, and I decided right then and there that I'm going to have to start doing Help the Girls every year.
The reason Chase decided to donate undergarments was because 20 years ago, she was in an abusive marriage that she says almost killed her.
I have 48 screws holding my face together, and he broke my nose and he broke my tear duct, and I have a new tear duct made over here.
In support of local shelters, the Chase Family Foundation donated 730 bras, 1,104 panties this year to women who left an abusive situation.
And this will help them with self-confidence, know that people care about them. And if, these ladies, if they do have children, if they do get any money at all, they're going to spend it on their children. They're not going to buy these items. And I think it helps boost their self-esteem.
The Northwest Arkansas Women's Shelter relies on support from the community. And the Chase Family Foundation's large donations always play a major role.
Those go directly to our clients. So when a client comes to us, they often come with nothing, just the clothes on their back. And for them to have to kind of start over and do all of that on their own would be very difficult. So donations like Susan's allow us to be able to give nice things to help our clients.
For anyone who's experiencing abuse, Chase says to put together an emergency plan.
Take some clothes over to your friend's house or someplace and store it so when you can get out, you don't have to pack and gather everything. You can just escape with your life and for your life.
6 Connecticut jurors have come up with the largest defamation suit payout in American history. They're ordering Alex Jones to pay some of the victims of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting nearly $1 billion. Michael George has the details.
A jury has ordered conspiracy theorist Alex Jones to pay $965 million for spreading lies about the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting.
Total $54 million.
Each of the plaintiffs were awarded a different amount. They're the families of 8 victims and an FBI agent who responded to the shooting. Robbie Parker's daughter Emily was among the victims. During the trial, prosecutors played video of Jones mocking him after her funeral.
What we were able to accomplish was just to simply tell the truth.
Jones began claiming the shooting was a hoax almost immediately after it happened. Families testified that his followers threatened and harassed them online and in person.
There will be more Alex Joneses in this world, but what they learned here today is that they absolutely will be held accountable.
Erica Lafferty lost her mom, Sandy Hook principal Dawn Hochsprung.
And in this big moment, like in every big moment, since the shooting, I wish I could just call my mom and tell her about it.
Jones mocked the verdict from his studio. His attorney promised to appeal.
From start to finish, the fix was in.
CBS News legal analyst Jessica Levinson says there will be an extensive effort to ensure the victims are paid.
We will be looking at wage garnishes. We will be looking at liens. We will be looking at all different ways to try and recover every bit of these verdicts.
Jones is facing another trial brought by a victim's family. It's expected to start later this year.
Those are some of your top headlines on this Friday and from this past week. We'll continue to follow the news all day. Catch up with us again this evening on your 5 News at 4, 5, and 6. I'm Tiffany Lee. Have a great day.